So, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining for this Bhagavad-gītā session. Today we'll be reciting and discussing 3 verses from Bhagavad-gītā second chapter, 64, 65, and 66. We will start. 2.64. Ragadvesha vimuktaistu Vishayan indriyaischaran Atma vashyir vidheyatma Prasadam adhigacchati. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. 2.65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. 2.66. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavana nachabhava yata shantir ashantasya kutha sukham. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. Now, how can there be any happiness without peace? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So, Hare Krishna. So, yesterday we saw 62 and 63 verse. It's actually the continuation of this. So, in the 62nd verse, Prabhupada says, by contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. And in the 63rd verse, he says, from anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material world. So, just by the objects of senses, how the whole thing comes to a total fall down. But in the next 3 verses, he gives a solution. 64, no? He says, but a person, so see Krishna, he clearly draws the line on the limited extent of sense enjoyment we can have by following the verse of 2.64, where he says, but a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So he says, you are permitted to enjoy the senses. Permission is there. Vishyan Indraishcharan. And the second line, so he draws the line, right? This enjoyment is subject to the following 2 conditions. 1, Atma Vashyehi. That is, all the senses must be under your control. And second is Vidheyatma, regulated freedom. So this is the speciality of the human beings. See, otherwise there is no difference between animals and human beings. Animals do not know about Atma Vashyehi, and certainly they don't know about Vidheyatma. So if you follow these things, the result is Prasadam Adhigacchati. We get the mercy of Krishna. Prasadam doesn't mean that our normal prasadam. This is actually blessings of the Lord is also a prasadam. So we get the mercy of Krishna. If we don't follow, we don't get the mercy of Krishna. So if you want to have the mercy upon you, this is the formula. We are not allowed to do anything we like. Anything which does not agree with the regulative principles is always punishable. So the formula for obtaining the mercy of the Lord is beautifully told in this 2.64 verse. So this should be our guideline. Bhagavad-gītā is our guide. So don't depend upon anybody. See, they may mislead, right? So you go to Krishna directly through Prabhupada and you will be self-sufficient, guided by Bhagavad-gītā. So 2.64 is the only verse in Bhagavad-gītā that tells us directly how the Lord's mercy has descended on Brahma, Dhruva, and all the great devotees. So what is the connection between Brahma and Dhruva Maharaj apart from their family connection? The real connection between them is behavior. So that is the key. Bhagavatam must translate into behavior. Bhagavad-gītā must translate into behavior. Otherwise, it is in the sky. See, there is no point in reading Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam if we cannot translate it into our behavior. See, Brahma, he was born from the lotus stem in the navel of the Lord. And when he was born, he was alone. Nobody around. Only the whole big ocean. And today, when we are alone, we say that without sadhu sangha, without association, we cannot do devotional service. But Brahma was alone. So the message of Brahma is very nice. We have to tolerate the loneliness in the material world. We have to tolerate the loneliness in the material world. But by being with Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam, we are never alone. See, Brahmaji was a little bit depressed and dejected on account of being alone. And he searched for 100 celestial years in the lotus stem, and he looked in all the four directions to see who has created him. Even though he was dejected, he performed a very important activity. He started performing penance, tapa. My Guru Maharaj used to say, the moment we come to devotional service, we have to work very, very hard because we follow in the parampara of Brahmaji, who worked very hard. The other point is that we must be prepared to be alone. We must not forget that at the end of our life, when we are going to die, no matter how many people surround us, we are still alone. We shall have to flap the wings alone. So Brahmaji learned this lesson very early in his life. Dhruva Maharaj was also alone. He performed the greatest austerity. So whatever Brahmaji did for 100 celestial years, Dhruva Maharaj did in a few months, 6 months. So they show us the royal way to become successful in our devotional service. So what is the greatest perseverance we have to do? Our greatest perseverance in our penance. Our greatest perseverance in our penance is to wake up for Mangala Arati. That is the greatest penance we have to do. See, once a father and son, they went to a kite flying festival. So the son became very happy seeing the sky filled with colorful kites. So he asked his father to get him a kite and a thread. So the father went to the shop and bought it. Soon his kite reached, so he started flying and his kite reached up higher in the sky. See, after a while, the son said, Father, it seems that the thread is holding up a kite from flying higher. So if we break the thread, it will be free and it will go flying even higher. So can we break the thread? The father cut the thread. The kite started to go a little higher. So that made the son very happy. But then slowly the kite started coming down. And soon it fell down on some of the terrace of some building. Now the son was surprised to see this. He had cut the kite loose of its thread so it can fly higher. But instead, it fell down. Now he asked his father, Father, I thought that after cutting off the thread, the kite can fly higher and higher. Why did it fall down? Now the father explained, Son, at the height of life that we live in, we often think that it's something we are tied with, and they are preventing us from going further higher. The thread was not holding the kite from going higher. Please understand, the thread was not holding the kite from going higher, but it was helping it stay higher when the wind slowed down. And when the wind picked up, you help the kite go up higher in a proper direction through the thread. And when we cut the thread, it fell down without the support, which you are providing through the thread. So the son now realized his mistake. So the moral is, many times we feel that the rules and regulations laid down in the scriptures are preventing us from reaching greater heights in life. But actually, it is not true. The rules and regulations laid down by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras are always meant for our ultimate benefit in life. So in this 2.64 verse, Videya Atma means one who follows regulated freedom. So when we act according to our own raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, we are prone to make a lot of mistakes. But when we take shelter of the elders who are more experienced than us in this world and act according to their instructions, then we are in a safer position. If we wrongly think that we are losing our independence by listening to the advice of elders, then we will face the consequence of our own actions. So just like the kite without thread, we may also appear temporarily to soar up to great heights, but our fall down is also guaranteed. That's why Bhagavatam 10th canto 4th chapter 46th verse it is warning us. Ayushriyam yasho dharmam lokanashisha evacha hanti shreyansi sarvani pumso mahat atikramaha. My dear king, when a man persecutes great souls, when he doesn't listen, all his benedictions of longevity, beauty, fame, religion, blessings, and promotion to higher planets, they will all be destroyed. So Mahad Atikrama means trespassing against great personalities. So understanding that the guidance provided by great souls are like the thread on whose support the kite of our life is flying high. So we should always abide by them and never wrongly consider them as hindrance to our progress. So in these three verses, 64, 2.64, 6.66, Krishna explains that one can obtain his complete mercy and become fully satisfied by fixing one's consciousness on him. And this is achieved by following the sadhana bhakti or regulative principles of freedom. However, if one forgets Krishna, there can be no happiness. So in the purport of 2.64, Prabhupada gives 4 points. 2.64 doesn't have a purport. 2.64, he gives 4 points. One may externally control the senses by some artificial process. But unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Number 2, although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. 3, the Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction, which is all unto Krishna's satisfaction. And the 4th point is, therefore, to act or not to act is within his control, because he acts under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So, the transcendental perfection is achieved by the devotee because he is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna. So, the devotee is therefore untouched by the material attachment and aversion. Although externally he may be acting within the material world. We are all acting, we are all in the material world. We are acting, doing our responsibility materially as well. But because we are in Krishna consciousness, we'll be untouched by the material modes. So Prabhupada's gift to all of us, what is the gift by Prabhupada to give to all of us, was to show this transcendental perfection to the world by his own example. As is always previously explained by Prabhupada in the 2nd chapter, the differences between the impersonalist and the devotee is that the impersonalist does not go beyond the impersonal Brahman and falls down again from the Brahma Jyoti after some time. The devotee, however, completely renounces material desire by accepting love of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada states that the Lord is kind to help the devotee who wants to attain the love for him. He gives direction from within and arranges for the devotee to come under the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So all of us who are under the guidance of a spiritual master, because Krishna arranged it. Without his direction and his arrangement, this would not be possible. So very, very fortunate. So the requirement on the part of the devotee is to follow the direction of Krishna strictly, very strictly. Be serious about it. For by so doing, Krishna promises to deliver him swiftly from material existence. However, if one is not strict in following the direction of the Lord and the spiritual master, the mind will never be peaceful. And this is stated in 2.66. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya, na chayuktasya bhavana, na chabha, na chabhavayatah shantir, ashantasya kuta sukham. So, the purport, Prabhupada gives 3 points. One, when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only one can have real peace. Number two, if one is not Krishna conscious, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. That's why we are disturbed, agitated, because we don't have that goal to do the devotional service, to ultimate satisfy the Lord. And three is make sure spiritual life will not give peace. Otherwise, we just show about we are just making a show of being with tilaka, dhoti, and all those things. Make sure spiritual life will not give peace. So if you're not peaceful, that means your devotional service is sadhana is make sure it is not serious. So the essential difference in the position of impulseless and the devotee is that the devotee accepted within his heart that Krishna is the enjoyer, he is the proprietor and friend of everyone. Not only has he accepted it, but is able to appreciate Krishna in the position as a supreme enjoyer. That's why Prabhupada states in the purport of 2.59, the peaceful verse. One who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. So this transformation of heart, however, is not found in the impulsionist who considers himself the supreme enjoyer. So unless this transformation takes place, the attraction for sense enjoyment will remain in the heart. So our goal should be clear. So we should be very much careful to always keep that ultimate goal of developing love for Krishna in our view. So this will give determination to overcome Maya's proposals. Maya's proposal is to enjoy without Krishna. So we'll overcome that. So Prabhupada's final point serves as a warning that one may be engaged externally in the process of Bhakti Yoga. But if one is not serious about transforming the heart, there can never be peace. So we should always maintain a happy disposition, even while we are faced with so many difficulties. See, there are very several trying circumstances in our life. But we should always be prepared to face it. And always have full faith that Krishna is the supreme controller and he knows what is best for us. See, worst comes worst, if not anything else. My Guru Maharaj used to say, worst comes first, if not anything else. Keeping our mood always happy and peaceful gives us a sound and healthy body. So this is very simple and practical instruction, which we can all practice in our own life. It doesn't need so much philosophy or any special ability. All we need is a simple and straightforward attitude with no malice towards other living entities. So we can see very positive results in no time if we simply practice this attitude in our life. But to practice this attitude, we have to first of all have firm faith that Lord Krishna ultimately controls everything. Then automatically simple and straightforward nature follows. So in the first line of 2.6 is, Prabhupada makes a punching statement. First line of the purport. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So being Krishna conscious means accepting Krishna's supreme authority. So as soon as we accept this, then we have no reason to become unnecessarily agitated over anything. Then automatically peace and happiness enter our life. See, the nature of this material world is to drag us down. So we should not give in to the tricks of material nature. Our only shelter is Krishna. And we should have complete faith that he will do what is best for us. My Guru Maharaj said, what Krishna gives, we accept. What Krishna gives, we accept. And what Krishna doesn't give, we do not accept. So seeing the hand of Krishna in everything is very, very important. See, the conclusion of the verse of 7 to 40 in Bhagavatam is very beautiful. That until and unless we see the hand of Krishna in everything, we will not accept the destiny of the Lord as ours. So when reverses come and difficulties come, we should not be disturbed. See, for a while we may be disturbed, but that little time depends on our sadhana and faith. What is that little while? See, if your faith and sadhana is very nice and sadhu sangha is there, the lead time between the initial point of your being upset and the immediate getting out of the bewilderment will become shorter and shorter until it takes just a little less than 2 minutes to recover your senses and say, Krishna, I am trying to see your hand, and you become peaceful. Otherwise, it may take days and months before we see the hand of Krishna, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. We cannot see the hand of the Lord. Sometimes it might take even lives and lives to see the hand. We cannot see it at all. But those who accept, they see it because Krishna gives them the vision from within to understand Krishna's purpose of whatever he is doing in our lives. So if we have the acceptance of seeing the hand of Krishna, then we will always have everything easy. So there is a nice verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 14.1. Katanchana smrte yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrte viparitam syad Shri Chaitanya namamitam. Please hear the translation. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or the other, one simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Things that are very difficult to do becomes easy to execute if one somehow or the other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even easy things become very difficult. So to this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So this is the way to accept the hand of Krishna. And for those who accept it, this intimate connection will result in peace in our lives. So this is the way we connect to Krishna. Without connection, we cannot be peaceful. That's what Krishna says in 2.66. How can there be any happiness without peace? Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Guru, for giving this opportunity to glorify God on this auspicious day of Ram Navami. So we'll stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhaya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
A very happy
Dhanvat pranam,
Hare Krishna to all the